Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BETSPERTS.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. It's week 11, Andy. You mentioned it. We have a full card this week. Only two teams are on bye, the Rams and the
Denver Broncos.
Denver Broncos. It's a good
chock full of nuts this week, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's weird. We have a really, really good slate, but the primetime games kind of stink. We're finally going to see the Patriots again in primetime. I don't think they've had a primetime game since the Tampa Bay homecoming. It's been a while since we saw them in primetime. This one will be good weather because it's being played indoors. Cannot wait to get your thoughts on the state of the Patriots and really kind of dig into that team a little bit. But the other primetime games kind of stink. We got a Chargers-Steelers game where everyone on the Steelers is hurt. I played a very
95 AFC Championship game rematch. Stan Humphries, Neil O'Donnell.
I always think of the crazy Duck Hodges, Phillip Rivers head-to-head from a couple of years ago, and I think of Chargers Steelers. There was a Ben Roethlisberger Phillip Rivers one back in the day that was a great matchup too, when the Steelers were perennial powerhouse and the Chargers were just coming up. The slate is good. Let's dive right into it. Let's not fiddle fuck around here. Or should we?
Welcome in, guys. Welcome in, football fans and problem gamblers and maybe handicappers and whoever else wants to hang out and talk football with us for a week.
I ran a bunch of numbers for futures this week just because I've been talking about that a lot. People have a lot of thoughts. And I'm just curious. I shared some with our, some of our friends and got some good feedback. People nobody really disagreed, but I don't have a ton of teams that I really will say I think have a meaningful chance to win the Super Bowl. Not a ton. And I just want to kind of go down the list real quick of Super Bowl odds.
Despite the parity, I feel the same way. It feels like, hey, there's a bunch of parity in the league. But at the same time, when we get down to the end of it, there's a bunch of teams I don't like to win 3 or 4 games in the playoffs, despite how high they are in the standings right now.
Yeah. There's, the fact that there is parity, quote unquote parity, just means that no one's really distinguished themselves from a record standpoint. But there is still distinguished, I have distinguished kind of tiers among my power ratings, just in terms of what a fair price on a neutral field would be for a lot of these teams. So I'm just going to go down the list and tell you teams that I think are surely contenders, borderline contenders, conditional on certain things, and then teams that are kind of in the mix futures wise that I think are not contenders. Does that sound, and you could disagree. Does that sound like
I'll jump in if I disagree.
Okay, we'll start in the AFC. Your favorites for the AFC currently, Buffalo Bills. They're contenders, not conditional. That's a team that can contend. And realistically, a couple of models out there I've seen giving them 19-20% chance to get the 1 seed. That's low. It is. Tennessee Titans don't have as high a percentage to get the 1 seed as a lot of the math models that I've seen kicked around. The Tennessee Titans are number 2 right now in the AFC in terms of price. They are not contenders in my mind. I don't see this team winning AFC. I don't see this team winning the Super Bowl. This is not conditional. I can't get past the fact that the defense really does have problems. I can't get past the fact that they, have not been able to develop a second healthy wide receiver, tight end target. This is A.J. Brown and Ryan Tannehill, and that's about it right now. And they're getting it done through some pretty fluky, unsustainable, regression coming kind of luck. I don't know that I even give them as likely a chance to get the 1 seed as people have out there. Do you disagree at all?
Okay. I'm agreeing with you there.
Third, Kansas City Chiefs right now in the futures market, absolutely a contender. With 100% conviction. They're going to be in the mix. Would you agree?
Yes, it's a very good team.
Okay. The Baltimore Ravens. That's a conditional contender for me.
This defense is bad at times. And that's going to be an issue against basically all the offenses we just listed in the playoffs with good quarterbacks, good coaches, And if somebody, is able to do like we've seen in the playoffs the last couple of years where, hey, we're able to limit Lamar today. The Ravens just don't have the defense they had the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like those games were close because the defense kept them in while Lamar was taken away in the games they lost.
Yeah.
It's not the same this year. So Ravens kind of a no. Yeah. Hard no for me.
They're hurt already. Not a lot of guys are coming back. No cavalry coming, guys. And then one more injury, you can pretty much cross off this team because they're thin. They're thin and they're already hurt. One fragile. More team, and fragile, very fragile team. So can't really consider the Ravens. And oh, by the way, if they do make a run, you still are going to have to. We've seen one playoff win from Lamar, and he plays tight in these big games. I don't know why. I don't like it. I'd love to see him chill the fuck out and play good in a big game. We've only ever seen it against the Titans, and it really wasn't even for the full game. But that's okay. How about the AFC? You want to guess who the fifth
Pats
in the AFC is? The New England Patriots at 11.1. Where do you stand on the Patriots? Actually, and this is maybe a good time to pivot right into this game.
Let's pivot into this game. So they should probably take care of business, especially if Cordarrelle Patterson doesn't play. Just think about and it wasn't even somebody they thought was going to be a big part of this offense at the beginning of the year. And, Kyle Pitts has stepped up bigly, and he should. He was a very high pick. But the fact that you've lost, you've lost one of your receivers. Julio got traded or whatever, and then you lose Ridley to, personal issues. Pitts steps up, but if he's like your only, take away Pitts, and what are they going to do? You don't have a good second back. Mike Davis isn't good. And Patterson has been awesome, but if he doesn't play, I don't know what this team's going to do on offense. It's going to be hard to find something outside of Pitts. And if anything we know about the Bill Belichick defenses over the years, they're really good at taking away the one thing you're good at, making you try to beat you with everything else. So I don't feel great. I wanted to take the Falcons in this game, but just the high likelihood that Patterson doesn't play makes me just wonder how they're going to score in this game. And so it puts the Patriots at 7-4. They're in really good spot. They probably it will be a big ask to overtake the Bills, and that leaves them in a wild card spot. You
see the standings?
I know it's close, but I think the Bills, I look down at the schedules. The
Bills got to play the Bucs still.
Yeah, they both have
to play the Saints at Thanksgiving night. Weird things.
I don't know. Yeah, weird things can happen any week. We can say that. You can say that about any game, but I think the Bills and
lost
Patriots
to the Jags. I don't think you can assume that all of those.
No, I'm not assuming. I'm just saying it's still a decent ask to overtake them.
In the blind. The Bills have an easier schedule than the Patriots. A ton of that is because they're two head-to-heads. The Bills will be favored in both. I don't think there's really much.
No, and that's the biggest part of this is that if the Bills take care of the head-to-heads, the rest almost does. It does matter. You can't lose every other game, obviously, but if you perform up to expectations and you beat them in the head-to-heads or at least split, the Bills win the division, and then the Patriots. I don't really like it, and I'm seeing some places as low as 9-1. 9-1 for them to win 3 road games.
Patriots? No.
Not with a rookie.
Price is conditional. That price is conditional on the Patriots closing the gap and winning the East. In some ways, there's a the probability of the Patriots Super Bowl swings massively on their AFC East hopes, and right now there's about a 80-20 split. The market would say 80% chance the Bills get it, 20% chance the Patriots get it. But in that 20% of realities where the Patriots win the AFC East, all of a sudden their likelihood of getting to the Super Bowl is a lot better, which is why 10-1 is probably fair market on them right now. Yeah. To win the AFC.
No, if you wanted to bet the Pats, you go back a couple weeks before they win these games, and it'll probably go down again. You'll probably see some 7 and 8 to 1. It depends what happens the rest of the week. Obviously Buffalo has a very winnable game. Kansas City has a tough game. Tennessee. Who does Tennessee play? I don't have that part of my schedule.
So Tennessee plays Houston.
We'll get down to that.
Tennessee plays Houston, which is a bad one. But people are hot on Houston. So some people I've seen people bet Houston this week. We'll get to them.
Against the spread.
against the spread, right? A couple of things to note about the Patriots. The Patriots have played legitimate opponents over their last 4 weeks, including the Browns, the Chargers, and the Patriots. The Panthers and the Cowboys. They almost beat the Cowboys. They beat the Chargers convincingly. They beat the Browns convincingly. It's been a while since we've seen them really lay a stinker. In fact, you have to go back to the Saints game to really kind of find, and that's really maybe their only game all season where they just did not show out, right? They just didn't play well. And so it's been a while since people have remembered, what they're dealing with here. And this is a rookie quarterback, and this is still a work in progress. But you can't help but notice it's been progress, right? A lot, and there's kind of there's two groups out there. There's Patriots fans who are like all in, complete and total, like, I'm reliving 2001. This is absolutely happening. Like, pattern recognition is a cognitive bias. And this is absolutely, there are Patriots fans out there who are looking at this and they're like, we're doing it again. Team of Destiny all over again. 2001. Like, we're going to go up head to head up against, some dynamic offense in the playoffs, and our plucky team's going to run out of the tunnel together and they're going to beat them. And Mac Jones is the next Brady. There are people who are beating this drum.
Simmons is unlistenable right now. His movie,
the least surprising thing I've heard all day.
The movie podcast, he
really
enough. No, yeah. Normally during any season, his movie podcast, which I like, the rewatchables, he shoehorns in enough Boston sport references. Now that the Patriots are like hot, unlistenable. And I want to address Ricky's question here too. Bill's strength of schedule. No, it is actually on the tougher end of tougher strength of schedules going forward. But relative to the Patriots, I have the two strength of schedules almost the same. So it really does come down to the head-to-heads, and I think Buffalo wins those. The Buffalo Bills do not have an easy strength of schedule going down the stretch here. In fact, I really don't think they end up in the top two seeds.
It's bottom half of the league.
Yeah, I have it as 12th toughest, I think.
The key entirely,
the Patriots is as well.
Yeah, the Bills 1 seed entirely depends on if the Patriots split with the Bills or if the Bills sweep. That's entirely it, right? If the Bills sweep, then they are live for the 1. If the Patriots split, then it's probably Tennessee's to lose, even though Tennessee is going to stumble. They're going to trip up. But if they keep playing like they're playing.
They got 8 wins already, yeah.
I know, they got 8 wins already, and they got a head-to-head over Buffalo.
Houston.
They got a head-to-head over Buffalo and KC.
They
have the inside track. We can't deny that. Okay, so let's talk turkey, though, about Patriots for a second. The defense is good. They have talented players. They are well coached. They're well prepared, and they play hard every game. It's a good defense, but defense is still always a reflection of who have you played. And the Patriots haven't really played very many tough teams, offenses, really, right? They haven't.
And if we keep doing the analogs to Buffalo, it's the same thing.
The same exact thing.
Buffalo
and
New England. Their defenses are ranked highly if you look at the raw metrics, but you add some context, you'll be like, man, you played some kind of bad teams. They're just, you played bad offenses at the right time, and just I think we're kind of landing on the same thing. The price around 10-11 to 1 is probably fairish right now. Don't go chasing New England at this point. I mean, if you want to chase them, I'd chase them before this week. I do think they get the win, and that number probably gets a little shorter, especially if Kansas City slips up versus a really good offense in Dallas. We could have some problems there too with the numbers. So and as far as the game goes, I opted to stay away from this. I'll probably just play some props tomorrow. If Patterson goes, we'll see. Maybe there'll be a laggard book that still has a 7, and I might grab a small position. But I'm expecting the Patriots to win tomorrow and their number to shorten.
Okay, so question: am I right or in the right universe here with this kind of general takeaway about the Patriots season so far?
Yeah.
I haven't said
anything. Remember when we went left around because we have 14 games?
I haven't said anything yet. This is the Patriots. The Patriots are going to be so talked about over the next couple of weeks. We got to get out ahead of this and have some sort of idea of what's going on with them. The bunch of high leverage games coming up for them. The Patriots start out the season They have very, very limited playbook for Mac. Very limited. Understandably, he's a rookie. He's you don't get a bunch of preseason time anymore to get guys up to speed. You're throwing him to the wolves as a rookie, and oh, by the way, he's a rookie that is a little limited athletically, so he's not going to have the bailout like the Lamar Jacksons of the world and the Justin Fields of the world. He's going to have to get it done in a pocket. He's going to have to read defenses. He's going to be tested, and so they have a limited playbook and they attack the short stuff. And this happens to be coming into the NFL in the same time that defenses are all pivoting to a conceptual framework that's too high safety, because they need to be able to stop the Mahomeses of the world. They need to be able to stop the Josh Allen's of the world. And so it's kind of a perfect storm of,
especially when you signed a couple nice tight ends.
You signed a couple nice tight ends, and the defenses are pivoting away from the easy stuff, right? And they're basically giving you, a lot of defenses are giving you this vacuum of, if you can complete the easy stuff, if you can win 1v1 in the running game, then you're going to be able to move the ball and you're going to be able to score points. And so I feel like that's really what is happening here. Your Patriots don't need to be daring and complicated and have win 1v1 with wide receivers versus good coverage down the field and make tight throws into or make precision throws into tight windows on the move, a la Pat Mahomes. They're taking what the defenses are giving them, and it just so happens to be that defenses are more prepared and more rostered up right now to be defending the Pat Mahomeses of the world, and that's created a vacuum where Mac Jones is doing well. And he has one game where, everybody was watching because it was the Browns, and it was like, well, here's a real test. Mac Jones plays well. And now everybody's like, oh, well, the Patriots are for real. They're 1-4 in a row. I forgot that they could even play bad.
I wanted this so bad to just take, the market's over adjusting. I wanted to take the 7. It's just, again, with this game, I just can't figure out where we're going to find the offense in Atlanta.
Which is why I think there's a blinking red angle on this one.
And the under.
The under.
Yeah, I'm probably.
The fuck is this thing 47.5?
Yeah. And the other part is too, like, if you want to play that offense where you to quote the good Dr. Eric, the Patriots crossing the street 100 times to get to the end zone. Like, if that's the offense you want to play and you're good at it, I mean, you can do that. Like, especially like, what's the weakness on the Patriots offense besides a rookie unathletic quarterback? I mean,
wide receivers create a separation 10 to 20 yards down the field.
Yeah, going deep. If you want to say that's a weakness, they're not even trying to do it.
Right. Yeah. Right. You're right. They're not even trying to do it. That's kind of the key. And I think, I realistically, we'll wait for Andy to unfreeze here.
Is it really a weakness going deep? Like the underneath stuff. No, the true weakness, the offensive line, and you have an Atlanta team that just doesn't get pressure. Like, they're bottom in every kind of pass rush metric. So, like, it's just such a nice matchup for the Patriots to go do exactly what they want. And you need a couple of those drives to end in field goals, and this game lands in the 30s.
Okay, I'd agree. I think this is a Patriots win, likely a Patriots cover, but a very, very solid under. And I'm involved at 48, and it's 47.5 really across the board right now. 47. Ooh, it's I'm not alone. I'm not alone. This is coming with me. Okay.
Even indoor.
Ooh, fuck! I forgot to put that on my BetSperts app because I was logged out. God damn it.
Oh, we got to get you. Yeah, we reset your password. Even.
Yeah, I keep doing that every day, trying to post the fatigue thing. Shit.
We'll get you figured out. All right.
Anyway.
Detroit
24-10 Pats. Sam's reading my mind here. 24-10 20. I'll even give the Falcons 13 points. We'll be generous. Detroit, Cleveland. I laid the chalk with the Browns. I can't quit these motherfuckers.
Chubb's back and Goff is a day-to-day. So there's a scenario where remember we talked about this quick, and I really don't want to spend time in this game. But
yeah, there's not much to say.
They did lay out the quarterback stuff, and remember we talked about Tim Boyle being injured.
Yes.
So he is practicing with the team. He's still QB1. On the IR. He can come off. Like they said, he's in this evaluation period, and they said If Goff can't go,
DFR?
they'll bring him off and he'll start.
Okay.
So the most likely situation if Goff doesn't start is Tim Boyle, wherever you're at, I suppose you're at the spot where Baker is probably being disrespected in his cycle, even if he doesn't start. Like Detroit on the road here against this offense. And again, that we have a dinged up quarterback, a dinged up receiver. I'm a little hesitant to back Cleveland here. I kind of like this under too, despite how low it is.
Browns, under's low, but I think it's the right side. Browns can win and cover. Baker Mayfield throws like 15 passes. I don't think it matters realistically. I don't know how the Lions get up for this game. If you're the Lions and you just spent 2 weeks preparing for Pittsburgh, you got some breaks in that you didn't have to play Big Ben. You gave you left it all out on the field, and you got a fucking tie out of it. I don't know how Dan Campbell inspires this team this week.
When is Baker at his worst?
When people don't believe in him.
No.
When he's at his worst. Oh, he's at his worst when he's like pumping and beating his chest and he's like
no, not his state of mind.
Oh.
When the other team is
putting pressure.
Do you know how many times Mason Rudolph got? Do you know how many times Mason Rudolph got hit on his 50 dropbacks last week?
Was it even one?
It was zero quarterback hits on 50 dropbacks. It's hard to do. If you're not going to be able to get Baker under pressure, I probably agree with you. It's funny. This is Patrick says they're like the AFC Vikings. Can't read them. They should get this done. I worry about the wide receiver situation a little. Landry's dinged up. People Jones might be your best option in some spots, but this is not a team who can cover anybody. And if they're not getting a pass rush, and again, the Browns will run just fine. This is a team they can run against. It might be a long extended scoring drives for the Browns, and they win 21-6 or something.
I'm gonna say give me a 28-6 because you forgot about that. Myles Garrett defensive return touchdown after he strip sacks Tim Boyle. After he strip sacks Tim Boyle, he's going to take that one to the house. So it's actually more like 28-6. Let's move on to the Niners at the Jags. Very little interest in playing this game. I would just like to cede my time to Andy and use I will vent for a second and then cede my time to Andy on the handicap here. The Niners, man. These guys, I went to war with them week after week after week. They're not this bad. The market is low. Buy low on these guys. And then I finally gave up on them the week before they blew the doors off of the Rams. Thankfully, your call at halftime of the Monday Night Football game, which brought us, by the way, to 3-0 on the week at second half plays. Don't stop us. Don't let us get hot. That was thankfully a little bit of reparations for my Niners support that went so sideways so much of the season to this point. What do you make of this line and total? Do you have any appetite to continue to get involved with the Niners? Did they fix things or was it all a mirage?
It's just a weird thing where Shanny owns McVay. It's that weird cycle the circle of the circular human centipede of those four coaches where they all have each other's number. That was a horrible reference to use. I'm trying to think of the circle where this team beat that team and that team beat this team. Like the circle of attrition. But Shanny just does this to McVay, and this is kind of a bad spot. I don't want to back them. I don't want to lay the points. The Jags defense is kind of playing up. They're playing tough right now. That's the only thing that's happening. This is another lower total. I might be all over unders this week. I really liked Debo. I loved what he did. I loved how they used him. Elijah Mitchell, hurt finger. Looks like he's going to play. Jeff Wilson's fine too. I think they're going to just concentrate on the run. This was a team that, they played up. They played well against the Bills. They stuck inside the number versus Indy. And I liked the Niners. Like you, I was scared to bet them. We ended up taking them in the second half. Some very smart cookies in the chat said I'm taking the money line on them at like 2-1. Congrats to you guys. And but on the road, and again, this has been proven out, especially this year. This isn't that big of a situational issue, but it is a short week for a West Coast team playing a noon game all the way in Duval County, Florida. That's not great. And again, they're well coached. There's some veterans. It's not going to kill them, but it's not a spot where I want to be laying all these points against a defense that's playing up right now. It's probably another under spot for me.
Yeah, I think that's the key here. The Jaguars defense is playing up. I didn't see that coming. They held the freaking Bills to 6 points, and then you take away the fluky block kick score. They held the Colts down last week on the road as well. Very surprising to see this team play with as much enthusiasm as they have. Credit to the coaching staff, I guess. Urban Meyer's not quitting on this team. They're not quitting on him, I guess. All of this very surprising. So yeah, easy stay away from me. Let's move on to the two teams that the Jacksonville Jaguars just defended extremely well, who go head to head up in Orchard Park.
2-0 against the spread versus these two. And yes, have we gotten updates in the weather? Because producer Dan alerted me.
It doesn't look too bad.
The Buffalo weather today is awful shitty. By the weekend, it looks like it's not supposed to be quite as bad.
You know what it is? That storm that went through Edmonton that dropped all that snow on Edmonton before the soccer match yesterday between Mexico and Canada, that's now trickled its way probably across Lake Erie and is affecting the weather in is Lake Erie or Lake Ontario, that one next to Buffalo? Let's say Erie. I as far as I know, the weather in Orchard Park is not going to be as miserable as was expected. Winds look like they're in the teens. Chance of rain, but it should be over before kickoff.
I would probably be taking the Colts at 7 here in this spot. And I don't like it, but it's another one of those where, again, Buffalo, a little bit of a fraudulent defense. I think they're going to be fine by the end of the year, but this is one of those, hey, the DVOA looks good. Hey, the defense looks good because they played kind of a garbage schedule. And like, hey, the pressure rate looks really good, but it's been against some bad offensive lines. And, oh, man, Indy, I guess, maybe was – I don't really truly believe in look ahead spots, but was Indy overlooking Jacksonville a little, looking to this one, being like, this is a tough game, but if we get this, all of a sudden we're back in the wild card chase. That maybe overlook, because I didn't think they played horrible. Just they just looked like they lacked motivation last week at some parts of that game. And despite, they did come away with the win. Pittman's been great. And then there is a chance Xavier Rhodes returns to the field. He's practicing this week. If you can get some pieces back together, I think the Indy defense is the one maybe being underrated.
Oh, underrated? Is that
if they get healthy? People have kind of dogged on them a little this year. And they've been hurt. I mean, they've had serious injuries to serious positions, including Mr. Leonard, and obviously Xavier Rhodes is kind of an up and down player, but he's better than probably replacement level. We've had injuries. I think Sin or Yasin. I never know if it's Rock Yasin or Rock Yasin. If it's Rock those are the first. All right. So yeah, multiple injuries in the secondary there, but like getting 7 here is a bit much for my numbers. Even if I have Buffalo as my top team. I think highly enough of what Indy's been able to do, and I make this like 6. It's not a strong play, but if I had to bet this, it would be the road team against a defense that's probably getting a little too much respect.
Rocky Yannick Sitter. That's a tennis joke. The Buffalo Bills and the Colts, of course, memorably played in the wild card round last year. Not much has changed from these.
I thought you were going to bring up the snow game.
They very memorably played in the snow. We're not going to get snow. That was the one where, was it shady? Was that also was LaShawn McCoy in 2 very memorable snow games? I guess he was. The Snow Bowl between the Eagles and the Lions, and the snow game between the Bills and the Colts.
An all-time great kicker,
Adam Vinatieri.
Product Vinatieri kicked that one that like absolutely duck hooked in and out.
Yeah,
it was an awful game that I could not get enough of. But
so good.
Colts +7. I think the total is probably right where it needs to be, and maybe a little Colts sprinkle in this one.
Okay, interesting. Okay, I'll see. I will concede. Do you have a better read on this
all the nice things I said about the Buffalo Bills getting this done for the rest of the year, and I'm betting against them right away.
Well, 7 points is a lot. I don't think we have. Again, back to the basics. the NFL is flat, especially in the middle of the season, especially with everybody dealing with injuries and rest disadvantage and blah, 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 blah. Like is any team 7 points better than any team that has a pulse? I don't know. So it's 7 is a lot. Wildcard game last year, this market was 652. So basically it's telling you that the Colts are a little worse than they were last year with Phillip Rivers offensively. That's basically what the market is saying.
Colts have scored more points than the Chiefs this year. Same amount of games.
Interesting.
Are they the best team in the league? All right.
No.
Miami, let's get to a way better.
No. Colts are not the best team in the league. Yeah, let's move on.
Divisional matchup.
Miami Jets.
This sucks.
Andy, I'm not sure if you saw the news today.
Oh, God. We get Tua versus Flacco. This sucks so bad.
Tua versus Flacco.
So
Thank
this is
God
my question.
there are other
This
games
is my
on.
question to you because I don't think they did a major overhaul to the offensive system from last year. You know, it's a completely different coaching staff, but it's not like they changed like everything. It's a pretty basic offensive scheme.
Talking about Miami?
New York. I mean, it's
all
all new coaches.
They brought Mike LaFleur in from San
Yeah,
Francisco.
I just haven't seen
different stuff.
I haven't seen like the amount of wrinkles that makes me worried about Flacco stepping in there. Like I hate
Oh,
to
I
say
see.
this.
I see what you're saying.
I think Flacco's been with this team. He actually started for the Miami game last year. He played for them last year. Again, different coach, different offense, but I think he's probably fine stepping into this. He's always been able to. They don't have good receivers or good skill position. You know, it's not a good team, but I don't think he's going to come in and just bottle it. And if he can get a couple, if he can get a couple of those pass interference calls he likes, and somebody says Flacco's probably an upgrade. That stinks.
Is he?
He kind of is, because I don't think at this point in his career he's like, all right, I have to go out there and play hero ball to get one last contract. He knows where he's at. Like, he's just going to go out there and, play well enough so he can just keep playing. I think he's fine with, playing, hey, just do what you're comfortable with. We're going to build this offense around what you do well. Obviously, you're not as mobile as you once were. We'll try not to get you concussed like the other year. And the Jets know where they're at in the standings too. They're 2-7. Although the Dolphins, man, they win this game, 4 wins isn't that far out of the playoffs, despite being as bad as they are.
Yeah, no, I think their season's pretty much over. But they're
it is.
They're frisky. They're as they proved to the Ravens last week.
Yeah.
They're a team you don't want to see on your schedule late in the season with nothing to lose. The issue I guess I have is the Dolphins defense is playing a lot better.
Yep.
And the Jets offensive line is still a huge problem. If you gave Flacco time, I think he could run a clean offense and be capable and not embarrass himself, but he's going to be under duress a lot in this game. I guess over under Flacco gets sacked 5.5 times.
Under like 3 or 4.
This offensive line is really poor for the Jets.
I know, but if I'm him, I'm just like, I'm getting this out quick. Like, deep balls are happening only when linebackers are dropping. Like, I'm not, if there's any blitz, this is going to a running back now. This is going to a tight end immediately. He doesn't want to get hit. It's cold up in Jersey. He doesn't want to get hit in a cold game. He's old as shit. So
God,
I think we see the ball getting
Lamar Jackson
I'm not
4
betting
times.
this game.
The Dolphins sacked Lamar 4 times last
He's very
week.
sackable, though. He gives up.
He has been this year. They sacked Tyrod Taylor 5 times. Is
Yep.
Tyrod Taylor sackable? Yes, he is. In fact, that was why the Buffalo Bills fans used to hate Tyrod Taylor, because he took too many sacks. He held on the ball too long. He didn't take enough shots down the field.
Very much.
They did not sack Josh Allen 3 games ago. And 4 games ago when they played the Falcons, 1 sack. So yeah, they're trending upwards, but certainly not maybe the most ferocious pass rush that the Jets have faced this season. I have no interest in betting this game. I think ultimately This is a pretty fair line. Dolphins probably should win. That's why they're favored.
It's going to be nice. 56 in Jersey on Sunday. Congrats.
Yeah, all right.
Maybe don't underestimate the staggering drawing power of the Garden State.
Here's what you should do if you are in New Jersey and it's a 56 degree fall day.
Don't go to
Go
the
spend
Jets
time
game.
with your family. Don't go to the
Don't
Jets
watch the
game.
Jets.
Don't watch this game at all. In
And
fact.
go to the tailgate. Don't pay to go into the
You
stadium.
can go to the tailgate. Go to the tailgate and watch some of the other great football games on in the parking lot. And then drive home safely, sober.
Riverboat Ron Revenge. Can't think of one more R word. Redskins, I guess you can say that. That's the R word. That's what we used to call it. But Riverboat Ron's revenge game. I don't think he's a revenge game guy. I don't think he gives a shit. It is funny that Cam is back for this. Like, is that kind of where you're at? I didn't see anything telling me otherwise. Cam starts and plays a big chunk to this, or are they going to be doing musical quarterbacks? Does it matter?
I don't know that anyone from the Carolina Panthers has been out ahead of this, or it's just been media speculation. I think you started. You started this because you were like, they're giving them all that money. That's starter money on Sunday's pod. You started this. You started this saying that Cam was going to get the start here.
Maybe
I gotta give.
That's why I'm not betting this game.
I had to give full credit. Oh, you didn't bet this one? No. Okay, I bet this one.
Man, Chase Young out, and the secondary as bad as it is.
How good has Chase Young played this year?
I know, but the rest of the defensive line is going to take a step back if he's not picking up extra hats and stuff.
Why?
Go back
and
look.
They have so much depth. They have so much. They have bodies, and they're good.
They have
players.
Very good inside rush, but I think part of their inside rush being so good has been Chase Young is drawing extra blockers at the time, or drawing, for sure he's very good. So
I'm not saying he's not good, but he hasn't been like Myles Garrett standout level of play this year at all. In fact, if we had defensive sophomore of the year tickets on Chase Young, we would not win. There are defensive sophomores out there that are outplaying Chase Young this year, which is wild.
He doesn't.
Cam, I gotta give.
You don't have a Clowney in.
No, they don't have a Clowney in there. Now Clowney's got a bruised shoulder. My co-analyst on the Matchbook show, Rob Pizzola, said it as better than I could have, which is, I will pay to see that Cam Newton can complete passes deeper than 5 yards. I'll pay to see it. That's what you're going to have to do to really take advantage of the weaknesses of the football team defense. You're going to have to be a more aggressive passing than I believe Cam Newton is capable of being at this point in his career. You've put Cam Newton in good situations at the goal line. He's going to score touchdowns. That's what he does. You're going to put him in 4th and 1. You need to get a hard yard. He will get that hard yard. Guarantee you. In fact, if you just want to roster that guy for those situations, that's fine. I don't really take exception to that. But if you're expecting him to move you from 20 to 20 against a defense that has, solid front seven and poor back end, he's not going to do it. I just don't see it happening. And the Panthers overall, if the football team can do what they did offensively against the Buccaneers last week, they can do it against the Panthers. I just, Panthers defense not good enough to hold them down to 20 points, which is what it's going to take for the Panthers to cover a 3.5 point spread. I bet this at 3.5. Obviously, is it 3 now? Or is that just win?
Yeah, there's some 3. It's like the threes got taken.
Again, probably Pizzola's fault, but this was a good spot to take a 3 and a hook. I don't see much of a gap between these two teams in terms of overall strength. The football team has been very unlucky this year in terms of outcomes. Ironically, they got that one win against the Falcons, which was extremely lucky, but they lost some other very unlucky games. And I guess their win against the Giants was pretty lucky too. The football team has one solid win against the Super Bowl champions, 2 lucky wins, and a bunch of unlucky losses. Go figure this team out. The Panthers, on the other hand, are not as good as what they showed last week against the Cardinals. That was a play up spot and play down spot combined to give you an impressive win for Panthers. 3.5 was a bet on the football team. If you followed my action on BetSperts, I already bet this. If you'd listened to the Matchbook pod, I already bet this. Hopefully you got a 3.5 as well. I would still play a 3. In fact, I would probably split my stake between +3 and money line if I didn't already have 3.5. Let's see if we can.
I opened so many tabs. tabs right there, and Chrome locked up like a nun crossing her legs. It was rough. Like you can hear my computer crying because I don't think they're getting like a great pressure rate.
Who? Panthers?
The Washington football team this year. I don't think they're not getting a great. I'm not scared of this defense, and I don't want to be involved in this because I don't know what I'm going to see from this offense. I'm very anti-Cam. I don't think he looks like a starting quarterback in the league anymore. His arm isn't good. His shoulder's never going to recover. But if they can build a game plan around some short stuff, build a game plan of crossing routes and CMC and God knows what. I just worry about this. I haven't had a good read on the football team all year, so staying away.
Yeah, no, that's not crazy. I haven't had a great read on them either, but I think this is a nice spot ultimately. And I was on the Panthers last week, and I had the appetite. I told you I had an appetite for football team last week, and you talked me out of it. So if I lose this,
I talked to anybody who talked to me. I talked them out of it. Like, hey, that's a bad angle.
Did you play the Buckaroos tonight? By the way, did you see that second quarter? Fatigue setting in a little early for the Lake Show.
I didn't bet any basketball. I forgot to today.
Oh man, I gave you all those plays.
I know. I was busy. I took a nap. Baltimore at Chicago in two quarterbacks. We mentioned this before. Who take sacks?
Yeah.
I don't have to open a new tab to tell me that Justin Fields is probably the most sacked quarterback in the league, despite not playing a couple games. The Ravens defense, though, like we mentioned when we were talking futures, not a team that has a great defense. It's not a defense that's impressed anyone over the last few weeks, over the season, really. They had a bunch of injuries to start the season, mostly on the offensive side. I don't understand what this team is. Sometimes you see remember the really good game for Lamar through the air, and then we had a really good game where it was like, oh, Lamar's going to run a bunch, and every running back, doesn't matter who it is going to be fine today. And then you have games like we had before, and they do have extra rest, but the Bears are coming off bye, so I don't know if that matters here. We said Ravens -6 was probably a good spot. It's going the other way. Why do you think the Bears are taking money?
This is the one so far.
The Bears here
so far on the week. This is the one play where have lost meaningful equity.
Injuries.
Meaningful equity. Some of it is probably that Lamar Jackson missed practice today with the non-COVID illness. I mean, he's like, you want if Andy. The number one player impact in the NFL to his team is
Roquan Smith.
No, he's a little bit farther down the list.
Lamar?
Lamar Jackson, 100%. It's
clipboard
not
delta.
The clipboard delta is massive. What he means and his roles and responsibilities, and how important it is for him and that offense to have the ball in his hands on every single snap, all of it. If there's even a whiff that he may not go, I understand why the market's moving against the Ravens. That said, the injury report for the Bears was bad. It was bad. The injury report for the Bears was bad, guys. This is Akeem Hicks did not practice today. Eddie Jackson did not practice today. Khalil Mack did not practice today. Trevathan did not practice today. Allen Robinson did not practice today. If those guys are not available after a bye week of rest, the Bears are in just absolute dire straits. The Bears defense, even if those guys are playing and they're limited, is in trouble. If Lamar Jackson is out there. This is the problem. I have felt overy about the Bears a couple of times this year.
Yeah.
And one of them was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you know what the Bears did in that game? They got sacked. They got picked. They gave up fumbles. They were just an embarrassment offensively. I think they scored 3 points. And you know what happened?
We needed here?
That total did not go over. And you know what I needed from the Bears? I needed 10 points, and I got freaking 3. And I am still raw about that. Although I went back to
what we needed. What we need here too, and I won't bet this over. I might get involved in the Ravens if Lamar checks out. But what you need for an over in this game to hit is garbage time Mitch, and he's up in Orchard Park.
Yeah.
Garbage time Mitch was a gift. He would get you 2 touchdowns late when they were down by 3.5 scores.
Yeah. That only thing better was garbage time Bortles.
Oh God.
Remember how those live overs
time
against the Jaguars
Kirk,
when you
too.
knew they were going to lose? Oh man, those guys were good at putting points up the board late.
So
Ravens
for me.
Ravens for me as well. And this is Wink Martindale. If you have anything left in your hopper, if you've got any juice left in the tank here, bring some exotic blitzes, confuse the kid. Do you want to guess? Okay, let me just frame this correctly. Let's say think of like a bad quarterback in terms of EPA per play. Like just give me a name and I'll tell you what his EPA per play is. So just give me a bad quarterback so far this season. Who's bad?
I mean, Tyrod.
Tyrod's not that bad. No. Give me a bad quarterback.
That last game was like a third of his season. Had to bring him down quite a bit. A bad.
Yeah, give me a
real bad like Tua.
Tua has been not that bad. He's not that bad. Give me think a little broader, like Zach Wilson. Bad.
Davis Mills.
Davis Mills.
Davis Mills.
Oh, Davis Mills has been bad. Davis Mills EPA per play has been minus 1.64. Well, excuse me, minus 0.164. So he is every drop back he's taking. So
if he kneeled,
almost 0.2
it would be better.
Off. Right. It would be better. Right. Yeah. Minus 0.24 EPA per dropback for Mr. Davis Mills. You want to guess what Justin Fields' EPA per dropback is on pressured downs?
Minus 2.49.
Minus 0.48. He is almost 3 times worse than Davis Mills on aggregate when he's pressured. Wink Martindale, if he can bring the pressure, if he can get after Justin Fields in this game, I think it'll look pretty similar to the Browns game.
People are asking for do Baker.
Oh, under pressure? It's just as bad. It's just
as bad. He's so bad under pressure.
I'll look it up, but Fields is like getting historic at this point.
Didn't Davis Mills draft prop move up like 60 points? Yeah. There was a weird run. Kellen Mond got taken in a weird spot too. Those aren't starters in the NFL ever. So Darnold, yeah, he's probably bad. So all right, I'm probably betting Baltimore here if I get good news on the injury and the Bears injury report continues.
If you haven't played them yet, good job by you because you're not going to get the worst of the number.
I haven't played shit yet. So
yeah. Oh, okay. You're holding in.
Let's move on to the second card and this is a game. This is one I'm actually kind of excited for.
Yeah, hit it.
And I'll probably just be playing a team on the money line here.
Ooh.
This is a spot too. If there was ever a team who was if there ever was a team who was 4-6 and was starting to get a little bit of steam in the market, and it was a team that already had steam in the market that has been getting bet every week by certain groups, and now is going to start seeing possible public support because of what they've done the last few weeks against a goofy team with a backup quarterback and another backup quarterback who's kind of hurt right now. And if Kamara goes, I'm playing Saints just straight up like that. I can't, if I have Kamara in, even with the backup quarterback, I like Jalen Hurts. I don't like Jalen Hurts against the secondary. I don't like this Eagles pass rush against this offensive line, despite having, lost a player already this year. So yeah, if Alvin's in on a low total like this, yeah, it's Saints straight up for me.
Okay, so Sign Collectibles has asked this a couple times, including last time when we were on overtime. And
we said we'd get to this here.
The Eagles to make the playoffs at plus 260 is pretty interesting because not just the 7th, but the 6th and 7th seeds in the NFC are wide open. I mean, really. You could convince me Minnesota's going to get into the playoffs at this rate. You could convince me that San Francisco has life still. I will even listen to the argument that Seattle has a chance at this point. But in reality, the aggregate. Hang on, let me add up my probabilities here because I ran all this stuff today. The Eagles. What do you guess my probability of them making the playoffs?
Well, no, I was just going to say I have the Eagles as my 26th toughest, or however you want to put it, 6th or 7th easiest remaining schedule as well. Like to make the playoffs, I put them at like 38%.
I am at 36%. Damn, we're close. You know what that fair price is? Plus 177.
Yep, 260 is a lot closer.
260 is a lot better. than plus 180, which is plus,
Should
I'm
we
not
bet
plus
it? Should we
180.
bet it as a team? Well, should we do the thing where you curse it by betting Stafford MVP or Lamar Player of the Year? Should we not bet the Eagles just to help
Well,
out
you're
the Eagles fans here?
advocating for Saints money line in the
I've
same
done it
sentence.
too.
So
I think I'm just as bad of a
maybe
curse.
here's what we look. Here's what we look
I'm gonna
for.
wait
We
a week.
wait. We let this game come and go. It is a 50-50 proposition at best. If the Eagles win, does their number jump from 36 to 45? No, it's still in the 30s. They still have a long way to go. There is still an enormous mess in the standings right now in terms of who's going to get that 7th playoff seed. But right now in the standings, like if the playoff last week, it was if the playoffs started today, the Falcons were going to the playoffs, and that was laughable. And now it is if the playoffs started today, the Carolina Panthers are like the 6th seed, aren't they? That's insane.
The playoffs are a fucking mess.
I don't have the Carolina Panthers anywhere close in terms of probability of making the playoffs that I have the Eagles, for the record. So
Carolina's schedule
error.
going forth was tough.
It's very tough. It's very
second
very tough.
toughest I have it as.
You want to know what Philadelphia's is?
I had them
second easiest.
I have them as 6th easiest. According
6th
to my
easiest.
numbers.
I'm looking at
either way
easiest.
it's very easy, and I have Carolina 2nd toughest.
Think about how easy the Bills' schedule has been to this point in the season. That is how easy I rate the remaining Philadelphia schedule.
Yeah, and to go back now, I just ran a quick rank on it in my spreadsheet here. Whoever brought up the Bills' schedule, the Bills and the Patriots, I have them as the 4th and 6th toughest, respectively. So I said, yeah. Like I have them as being tougher schedules.
Oh wow, those are very very different from my numbers.
Well, get with the program.
I guess if you have Bills and Pats higher, if you have them
each other twice.
Yeah, they play each other twice. So if you have them higher than me, then that makes sense. Because I don't have Bills 1, spoiler alert, and I don't have Patriots top 5. But a lot of people.
I was forced to move them up a little this week. So yeah, I'll be on the Saints if Kamara plays. And I'll be monitoring the Eagles situation. If you think Eagles win this week, I think part of your stake should go on Eagles to make the playoffs. I think you take a quarter of whatever you were going to bet and bet that on Eagles to win the playoffs. If you were going to be betting Eagles -1, Eagles money line anyway. So a team that will not make the playoffs and a team that most certainly will make the playoffs, the Houston Texans head to Nash Vegas as a 10-point underdog. Tyrod maybe getting his legs under him a little. That was a bad performance, but he was coming off injury, and he's not ever going to be great. I expected a lot more out of him than that. That was a horrific performance by him. And the Titans just, again, I don't know if this pass rush is for real, but I've seen no signs of it stopping. They have several players now that are getting after the quarterbacks repeatedly. This is a bad quarterback for taking sacks. This is an offensive line that had a very good left tackle that doesn't play right now, and they're going to be behind most of the game. Like, if you think the Tennessee's pass rush is going to be good again, like all the situational factors are lining up for them to have another good game. I don't lay big favorites a ton, but this would be like Titans or nothing for me. The Texans don't offer a lot. Even it's a really bad secondary, but like all you have to do, like, hey, let's just take away Brandon Cooks and see what else they can do. Like that's their player. It's a lot of points. I'm staying away from this one.
It's a fun thought exercise with this one. The Texans have played some bad teams this year, and they played some. Excuse me. The Texans are a bad team, and they have played some good teams this year, and on the road in particular. And it's fun to think about how Tennessee is being rated relative to those other teams.
Yeah.
I was, thinking about like the Bills game in particular. They go to the Buffalo Bills. They lose 40-0. What were they? That got bet out to 16, 17 and a half. Is that right?
There were 19s in the market.
There were 19s in the market?
Yeah.
So why are the Titans 10? That's a big old gap.
Makes you think.
That's a big old gap. I mean, Davis Mills and Tyrod Taylor, obviously there's a difference there, but.
And I believe Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, my numbers would. I don't have Tennessee and the Bills 9 points apart, and maybe we do see a bunch of late action. We saw Texans money come in, and then on Sunday the Bills got bet to the bejesus belt. Maybe we see something similar. This closes at 13, but even then, I don't know if I don't have the Bills out of neutral. I wouldn't have them like 6 point better than the Titans. I had to upgrade the Titans. I don't care how I feel about them in the playoffs. I don't care how I feel about the fact that they are deciding to go with shitty running backs. The defense is playing up, and they're finding ways to cover their deficiencies right now. So yeah, pass on this one for me.
The Browns were 13.5-point favorites against the Texans.
And this is the thing. People are waiting for the other shoe to drop. People are just waiting for the Tennessee Titans to not play well, not cover a game. So
yeah, you know what?
And it is a better quarterback than Davis Mills, clearly.
You know what else? You know why you can't really count? You can't really hold your breath on it. Over the balance of it's
not till Sunday.
Well, yeah, that obviously do not hold your breath till Sunday, please. You remember back in the day talking about this, how a team performs across a normal distribution over the balance of a 16-game and now 17-game season, right? Which means about 10, now 11 of their performances are going to kind of fall around their average, right? About 3 of them are going to be really good performances.
I think they used those.
And about 3 of them are going to be really poor. We have seen the Titans already with 2 of the poor ones. Week 1, when they got utterly pants pulled down at home against the Cardinals. And then week 4, when they lose to the Jets outright. So if you're holding your breath, waiting for regression, more likely than not, the Titans are going to keep performing around their expectation, which is 10-ish points better than the Texans. They're going to win by 10. I don't see value in this number is really where I'm, kind of coming to. You're counting on a Texans team that's poorly coached, that's not very motivated, that is on the road. And I mean, you want to guess some of you've seen some of these the point outputs for the Texans on the road this year, right?
Yeah, I make this like 13. Still not betting it.
We'll throw out week 1 against the Jaguars because that was fluky as shit. The Panthers, they scored 9. The Patriots, that was home. Excuse me. The Bills, they scored 0. The Colts, they scored 3. The Cardinals, they scored 5, and the Dolphins, they scored 9. Those are your last 4 road games for the Texans, an average of about 4 points.
22 minus 5. Are we gonna do a secret team total under 17? Against a sketchy defense, but at home.
See, that's the thing. Is
it's been a defense that's
defense. Yeah, are they sketchy? I mean, no.
I'm talking
picks here.
The Titans.
Yeah, that's
Titans
what I'm saying.
Have been This is on the board. Either way, we'll move on to the NFC North.
17. Put it in the queue. Put it in the hopper.
This one's annoying because I did want to bet this, and I still another under possibly for me but the loss, the probable loss of Aaron Jones probably sucks some value out of this, and it shouldn't. Like AJ Dillon's very good too. But I don't know if people will take that into account. Like, I'm betting Minnesota. The Packers didn't score much last week. They lost. They have a good running back that's hurt. I don't know. Like, this is in Minnesota. They've played them tight the last couple of years. They beat them last year, I believe. Minnesota won a game versus a very good Packers team that I think was probably better last year. And I don't make much of this outside of I make this closer to Green Bay being about, maybe like 3 points better on a neutral. I don't give a ton of home field for anybody. Minnesota's one of the ones that gets a little bit. It's a nice indoor dome, but I make this Packers like -1.5. I wanted this to go the other way and take some Vikings +3. This is probably going to be a decent teaser leg, even if the total's closing in on 50. I'll probably stay away from this one outside of teasers. I like both teams to run the ball a lot, though. These are defenses that can be run on, and they're teams that like to run the ball. It's not like they're bad rushing defenses, but they're teams that aren't going to stop good running attacks. So I'm looking for both teams to kind of concentrate on the run, and maybe we see the under. But yeah, I'm a little sketched out by this Packers D. It's we kind of shit on it all year with all the injuries and just the bad secondary. But man, they're just playing hard. Like it's such a thing you can't quantify, but you have to be able to see that and know, like, man, these guys are playing above the level they should be playing at, and maybe it's one I stay away from outside of a Vikes Wongberger teaser.
I play the Vikings on the money line. I think they win this game or they don't cover the 2 at this point.
Yeah.
I think
don't play the 2. If you play them,
I make them
straight up.
Yeah, I make them slightly better than 50-50 to win this game. And a lot of it has to do with the health and availability of Packers players, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. I was expecting Rashawn Gary was not going to be able to go because of his elbow injury. If he is out there, he's going to be limited, and elbow injury is not great for the only guy they have that can rush the passer who's healthy. But then I saw, and Eric Stokes, by the way, he's been dealing with some injuries as well. He's an important part of their defense right now. But then I saw the injury report today, and not only is Aaron Jones unlikely to go with the DNP knee, Aaron Rodgers, DNP toe. Did you see that?
I did. I wondered if it's turf toe, that's bad. If it's just like a jammed big toe or something, I don't know. Like something to dig into, but maybe that's where we
it's not anything you heard about, though. This isn't something that might be serious, because I think that was what moved the market mostly today.
It just made the report. I didn't make much of it. If it were big, I think we'd have heard more about it. But yeah, the guy's falling apart. I mean, he's just not.
He doesn't look well.
It's a side effect apparently of the virus. Is toe pain. Maybe he has the gout. Probably just sat at home eating red meat for 2 weeks. That's what I would have done.
Is a common side effect of ivermectin gout? Is that a common side effect?
No. It's from high uric acid. Toe Rogan, someone said. Thank you, Femi. We needed that. So, all right, we like Minnesota. So,
I like Minnesota in this one. Just real quick.
Go ahead.
This just real quick thought exercise. How many games on the Packers schedule that they won were coin flips that easily ball bounces the other way, they lose? I count 3. The Niners, the Bengals,
sure. The Bengals game is the one that stuck out hard.
For sure. And then I had one more that's escaping me because I don't have their schedule up because I'm an idiot. But there are 3. Trust me on that. The Vikings have how many losses on their schedule that were coin flips? That
all of them.
All of them. And actually,
the Vikings, and we brought this stat up, I believe, in a different show. The Vikings have led by at least 7 points or more in every game they've played, and they are 4-5. That is amazing how they've bottled away double-digit leads. They managed to keep one last week. They're back in the playoff race, and this put them at 500, which is a big energy for that 7 seed, maybe even a 6 seed, honestly, at this point. So yeah, and good teams get lucky. Like preparation equals luck at the same time too. But yeah, I'm on Minnesota here in a coin flip in the US Bank Stadium.
Yeah. Okay. Realistically, like, ball bounces a little differently. These 2 teams are probably tied for the NFC North because there's really not that much separating them. The Vikings are a good team. They just have had brain dead moments from the coaching
especially. I mean, the
very bad luck.
Offense has been great. Yeah, I have Green Bay just a couple points higher, and a lot of that's just based off how the defense is
over the balance of Mike Zimmer's career. He's done well limiting Aaron Rodgers, really. And those are games where Aaron Rodgers had a better offensive line, a healthier offensive line, and a healthier set of weapons. So. I mean, by every metric, by everyone who studies quarterbacks, Cousins is performing in the top 5 among active NFL quarterbacks. It's amazing to see it. And honestly, if you didn't know any better, he's ready to leave. He's ready to be out on the outs in Minnesota. Somebody potentially could snag him, Cleveland Browns, who could completely change their franchise's direction on a 1 year swing. So we'll see. Let's move on to Cincy Vegas. Andy, I need you to throw some.
Cincy doesn't have this stigma anymore. Cincy used to have a lot of badass problem players. I want to call it the Felon Bowl, but I can't put that stigma on the Bengals anymore. The Bengals have cleaned up. The Bengals used to be what the Raiders are, where they always had players getting in trouble. I don't know what that came from.
I'm uncomfortable with this stereotyping.
I know. And that's the thing too. I always thought Marvin Jones was maybe a shitty coach in the playoffs, but I just thought he was a decent.
No, they just had Vontaze Burfict, who was a legitimate maniac who didn't belong on the football team. Yeah, he was also a maniac. That's true.
Yeah, they had a couple of maniacs on this team.
They had a couple of those guys. This is your new look Bengals, man. This is the Zach Taylor Bengals.
Yeah, they've cleaned them up.
This is the Zach Taylor Bengals. And you know what I think of when I think of Zach Taylor?
Was
I think of a team with no identity when I think of the Zach Taylor Bengals. But no, Joe Burrow is your reigning second choice for comeback player of the year. He's having a solid season in general, although he makes mistakes at times, which is fine. He's a young quarterback who takes chances. He's aggressive. He's got an aggressive streak in him that I like. He's got a set of weapons to work with that are awesome. And in fact, I was a little surprised that this is just Bengals -1, considering the absolute stink show that the Raiders defense put up on Sunday against the Pat Mahomes-led Kansas City Chiefs.
Stink show.
Similar strength offensively, really.
Similar. I was just going to say it's a similar offense. You got an offense that is absolutely willing to go deep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've got a very
not just willing, but will go deep.
Willing and able.
Yes.
And they have good receivers, and you have like you said, the stink show. Jonathan Abram got his pants beat off just multiple times. Go look at the stats versus him. I don't want to say hey, the Bengals are the Chiefs light, but honestly, they're only a game worse than them too, which is funny. And the Bengals offense has had some really nice games if they get a couple deep balls. So,
I think here's where I'm stuck.
I'm going to sell this up to 2.5.
Oh, cool. Okay. Here's where I'm stuck. The hell is this total under 51? Huh? What?
So I think Cincy's getting some players back on D, getting healthy here.
So we're counting on the Cincinnati defense to hold Derek Carr now.
And I know at home too.
They don't have an interior pass.
It's just been bet up.
Yeah. I mean, I bet it. I think it has gone up a hair, a titch. Pinnacle's at the top of the market right now. 50 bookmakers got 50.5. You would guess that they may be leading the market on the high side. Surprisingly, Circa not interested in taking any over or not interested in taking any under bets on this. They're low. But no, this is I bet into this at over 49. This was one of my first plays of the week. It stood out like a sore thumb when I ran my numbers. I don't disrespect either of these defenses. This is just all about respect for the offenses, honestly. These two offenses are legitimately good. Either of them capable of getting into the high 20s, low 30s. Neither of these teams has a running game that can put away a lead in a way that this is like a 31-17 kind of a heartbreaker for an under, right? So I think in general, I like the potential for a shootout here. Very low spread. Market is telling you this is a coin flip. We're going to get some back and forth scoring here. I just don't see how this is a defensive game whatsoever. Over 49, now 49.5 is still a very solid play. I make this north of 51. So my edge is pretty meaningful here.
They're actually both top half of the leagues in pressure rates from their pass rush. They're not bad. They're somewhere in that 12 to 16 range. They're not high-end pass rushes.
Yeah, both off. Yeah, but
and the offensive line for the Bengals has played better than we thought.
The one guy that's especially good pass rush for Cincinnati is Hendrickson, their big free agent signing, and he matches up against the anchor of the offensive line in Colton Miller, who's actually the only good pass pro that guy they have. So I think that's neutralized, and I don't see the defensive tackles for the Bengals being much of a deciding factor or distinguishing factor in this game, which is really the way you need to make Carr pay. You need to push, you need to get after him up the middle. And I mean, we can assume it would be tough. It would be a tough look for Deshaun Jackson to shave 2 points 2 weeks in a row, right?
That was so weird. It's like the guy dropped his PlayStation control and the stick went the wrong way. It's like he turned around for some reason. Like he just got lost. I don't know. So a couple other parts. Jacobs was limited again today. Ngakoue played. Practiced, excuse me. Mostly this isn't really a game with a ton of injuries. Just look for Jacobs, see if he's 100% for going, but outside of that, just a couple defensive players were out of practice for the Raiders today. The Raiders injury report is a lot longer than Cincy.
Yeah, it sure
Cincinnati
is.
team total over. Does that tickle your fancy?
What's the number on that? 24-ish?
24.5 says this guy with the anchor calls.
I make it 27, so I like it.
Bengals are 31st in situation neutral pace for what?
Put that in the consideration file.
We'll put it in the consideration.
Slide that in the consideration file.
I
don't have a strong read on the secret pod play yet. I'll tell you that.
No, I don't either. Arizona at Seattle. Who's the underdog? Should we just bet that team? So this is one.
Did we ever get the math taken care of on this? Now
they covered
we have
again.
We have another game. Covered. Yeah, we have another game. Niners did. Yeah.
I'm not going to sit and talk about this at length because we don't know the status of Kyler Murray.
Best guess.
I guess. And here's the thing too. There were some worries that it was going to have to be Strevler because McCoy hurt his pec too, and it sounds like he's fine. He's practicing. He's playing. It wouldn't be a Strevler start if Kyler can't go, which would be something. Strevler at Wilson. But Wilson, I think, gets his feet back under him here. It's a home game. He's playing honestly, it's weird to say this. The Packers defense is playing better than a lot of other teams are right now. So this is an easier test for him. And the pass rush for the Cardinals has been great. And Wilson does take sacks. Arizona's going to get home a few times, but he can beat them with the receivers on the outside here and there. I don't know if I want to do anything with this without knowing the quarterback stuff.
What was your best guess, though?
He was out there. Kyler was out there practicing lightly today. I think he goes. If you really believe it, this number is a middle number. Like, this should be 4.5 if Kyler goes, right? Like the way Seattle's playing right now, even on the road. And this is a place I give quite a bit of home field, but like if I just do my raw numbers on this, I make this like 4. So Kyler goes, I think this crosses 3, and it depends, is he, you might get burnt. It might be like, hey, Kyler's starting. I'm going to bet this. Kyler looks like shit because he shouldn't have played. And here's the only other thing is the Cardinals do have a bye week next week. If they're not really feeling good about this, they are sitting at 8-2. They've got the tiebreakers. They haven't lost any games in division yet. They're 3-0. Like, if you're not sure with Kyler, it could be just like, all right, let's give him 2 weeks to get right. Because if at this point you're like, it's been since the grocery bagger from Iowa, what was his name, Kurt Warner. It's been a long time since they made a playoff run. So, I mean, if you're feeling like, hey, we have a legit chance to make some noise in the NFC playoffs, maybe bring a championship down to the desert here for all the fans that don't really care because they're all transplants.
Old grocery bag almost got it, though. Almost.
That was a good Super Bowl. That was really a super good game.
Really good.
And this is a good point by Sign Collectibles, who might own a hobby shop. If Kyler plays rush yards under, I think that's probably a decent look. If he does play and he's limited, he might be having not only fewer scrambles, but fewer, obviously, called run plays for him.
Yeah,
It
and
was
in
not a
general,
high- it
Seattle
was not a
defends
high
that.
V.
In general, Seattle defends that well. So
Yeah, and
it's a
Seattle
fair
does
look.
have, despite having bad coverage linebackers, still has fast, decent play against the run from the linebacking crew.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, I'm sitting this one out. I don't want to be taking a guess with my money.
Okay. I'm guessing that Kyler goes.
I agree.
I am guessing that Hopkins does not.
Yeah,
I'm
he didn't
guessing that
practice
the
today.
Cardinals is predominantly a pass-focused approach here. I'm guessing that the Seahawks look a hell of a lot better offensively than what we saw last week. I'm guessing that Russell Wilson has a good game. I think the over is in play at 48.5. Not a strong look for me. Not a real. I won't say I played this and then sort of regretted it, but that's kind of where I'm at. I made this total 50. I made it 51. So I played over 49. It's down to 48.5, probably because of the uncertainty swirling around Kyler Murray. But I think this is
Hopkins
a
more important
shootout
almost.
kind of a game. You think Hopkins is more important?
Well, no, I mean the Hopkins news is more
Impactful.
I'm trying to say it right. Well, no, just like there's almost more clarity. Like Hopkins did not practice.
Yeah,
I
would be shocked. But I would also tell you
they have other receivers.
If you really want to decompose and give credit to the wins so far this season for the Cardinals, Hopkins doesn't get much at all.
No, but it's so hard. It's because it's a team sport. Like, is he drawing coverage and making other players better? It's so hard to quantify the impact of one player in a team sport like that, where he's so good and he can take away you say like, oh, the cornerback takes away their best receiver. Sometimes the receiver takes away the best cornerback. Sometimes that works two ways. And all of a sudden, Kirk gets a shitload of yardage. And I believe Edmonds he's full IR now. It's the James Conner show.
Yeah.
And there were actually also another thing for the Cardinals, 2 starting linemen didn't practice today. Offensive
I shouldn't have got involved in this one.
This was
a bad bet.
I'm properly sketched out by this game, and I will just watch and live bet whoever didn't score first.
Okay.
The game more likely to go over. Not more likely. It's still a median projection, but a game in everyone's mind more likely to go over. And we hope it's going to go over. I want to see an 80-point game. I want this game to be so fun. I might not bet this just because I want to enjoy this one. Dallas and KC's offenses looked pretty good last week.
Yeah.
Against some defenses that were not set up to handle those kind of offenses. And, you have Gallup back for Dallas now. You have so many weapons on both sides. And, like we mentioned, the Raiders were not set up to do what the other teams in the league have been doing to take this KC offense down a notch, and it showed, and we were very happy with that bet. We were super excited about that one being a very easy -2.5, never really ever in doubt. And I don't have a strong feeling on this one at all. I think these numbers are both pretty good.
I do too. I lean Chiefs. I didn't bet the Chiefs yet. Didn't bet them yet. I got a prediction for you, and this is an easy one. You ready? This is the most watched NFL game of the season.
Yeah, I mean it is maybe Dan has it in front of him because he can look at this. Where did the 3:00 game start? Was it at the Green Bay game or the Houston Tennessee game? The 4 p.m. games, whatever you have you. What are the other late games besides? So Arizona, Seattle, Cincy, Las Vegas.
Closed my odds page, unfortunately. The first afternoon game was Cincinnati, Vegas.
Okay, so just those 3. So you only have 3 late games, and this is one of them. It's a 4:25 game. I mean, Arizona, Seattle's going to be big on the West Coast, but every single other person in the country will be watching this, including us. Yeah, I'm excited for this. The Chiefs' defense. The secondary didn't look too bad against the aforementioned, like we talked about Derek Carr and that offense. Like, that's a good offense. It's been a good offense all year. Their secondary played okay, and the pass rush was doing a few things. Granted, Carr is another sackable fella. His brother was extremely sackable, but this is and I guess it depends. Is Smith trending to playing for Dallas?
Yes, but I don't think it matters. That's a really solid unit.
It's a very solid unit, but it makes it from a solid unit to one of the best units in the league. And if he has time back there against, I don't care how they improved against the Raiders. If Dallas has time to throw the ball, Casey's going to be playing ping pong all day. This is going to be a fun one. It sucks we're not at the flex spots yet. We can't flex these yet.
If you needed any more evidence, I think we are at the flex spots, but I think that this is a CBS game. Is that right?
Yeah, CBS has some say in that too.
They died on the hill of the first overall protected game of the season, no doubt about it.
It's like choosing a jury.
About it.
Yeah, they can strike this one.
In no way giving up this game. If it was a Fox game, the same deal. If you need any more evidence that defense is simply a reflection of opponents played, go look at the Chiefs' results this season. They've gone up against some very good offenses and got utterly embarrassed. They have gone up against some very poor offenses and they have looked like world beaters. It is like clockwork. And that's how this works. I think realistically, you can hold Jordan Love to 7 points. You can hold Daniel Jones to 17 points. You can hold Taylor Heineke to 13 points. But you're not going to keep Josh Allen down. You're not going to keep Jalen Hurts down. You're not going to keep Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, even Baker Mayfield, and Ryan Tannehill had nice days against you. So, I think your opponent matters, and your opponent in this case is an elite offense. So expecting that the Chiefs defense is going to look good is not something you should walk into this game with an expectation of.
Tony Romo is he makes those high-pitched noises. Jim!
He's going to squeal. You're absolutely right.
He's going to be fun. I might have the sound on for that one.
Dallas is
a bit of a feast or famine defense. They either get a turnover or they give up.
Now Dallas's defense, I think, stinks. And Dallas's defense, they have no pass
possessions
rush.
On defenses have been turnovers. They've had good turnover luck.
And that aspect of it is masking all of the data. Any data you see from Dallas that shows that they have their defense has played up this year, it is completely overweighted by one man's interceptions. That is it. And they're playing up against a turnover happy offense, and the Chiefs may give them some free balls, some freebies. That may be the distinguishing part of this game. I don't know. But realistically, this Cowboys defense is going to get pushed around at times in this game. And in the exact same way that the Chiefs matched up well against the Raiders defense. Is he ever? He is definitely.
Diggs' stat line is going to be
7 targets,
targeted 6 yards,
6 completions for 220 yards, and then 1 interception
and a pick 6. He's going to give it balls thrown to him are going to account for 4 touchdowns, but it'll be 3 and 1, something along those lines.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Femi says it's probably a Fox game, which means we could probably Troy and Joe.
Oh,
just means sound off. Changed my mind.
That actually makes sense because next week's CBS game then is Dallas Raiders. They give the AFC team playing on Thanksgiving to CBS. That makes sense. ESPN says Fox. Yeah, shoot.
And the nightcap. The nightcap stinks.
Oh, it's awful. Last thought about Dallas KC before we move off. Neither of us played it. I lean Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are bettable in basically every market still.
If I still had 5 dimes, I'd bet the alt overs in this one for fun. I might try to find that. I think Heritage or Bet 105 has stuff like that where you still bet alts.
Some frisky, fun shit like that.
I might get
what true or false? The winner of this game from a quarterback standpoint, assuming that this is a good game that's well enjoyed by the fans and talked about in the media next week in the run up to Thanksgiving, the winner of this game is your co-favorite for MVP. True or false?
Yeah, I mean, if the game script plays out right, and more so if it's Dak. I mean, it's hard to forgive. It's hard to forgive Mahomes for some of his early season. I mean, if Mahomes has 5 touchdowns again, yeah, like Mahomes has to have a bigger day. I think Dak has an easier path to being that. Like,
You think Dak just gets a win? He's co-favorite.
I mean, he having a nice game, but like if Mahomes has 2 weeks in a row with eye-popping numbers, yeah, he's right there. I mean, you're right.
Okay. I think that's in the cards regardless, honestly. And a ton of it is just, and again, like people are all doing the counting stat thing when they do make these evaluations on top of they look at the win-loss. But if the Chiefs pick up a win, they'll be 7-4. They will be at least still at the top of the AFC West.
Yep.
Closer to the bye in the AFC overall. And every single counting stat, Mahomes is going to be leading after this game. Pass attempts, completions, yards, touchdowns.
Having the Thanksgiving game never hurts. Never hurts.
Maybe Brady is still the touchdown leader after this week. Maybe. But it could be Mahomes across the board in all the counting stats. And needless to say, his EPA per play is pretty fucking incredible as well. So yeah, I think.
How many voters do you think know what EPA per play is?
More than used to. At least
Prisco,
one more.
Does Prisco have a vote?
I don't know.
See if we get the CBS guys to vote the right way. All right, last game of the week, no play. See you guys.
I played the Chargers.
I
can't quit these these guys.
I don't blame you here. So this is likely Mason's Rudolph's and likely TJ Watt's.
Two teams apparently I'm just martingaling this season. Browns and Chargers. Eventually they have to cover, right?
So the Chargers, and especially TJ Watt was in like a t-shirt and shorts jogging lightly, but
I did not like the looks of that.
He was listed as did not practice. So if he is sitting out this week, not only does that help keep his stats down for the old counting stats of defensive player of the year, but that's massive. He's been a force coming around basically everywhere they line him up. He's getting a ton of pressure. It's annoying if you play against him. He's so good. So that's a big thing to watch. If he's out, honestly, a defensive player shouldn't move the number, but like there might be money. Like if TJ Watt is announced for sure out, there might be people that go bet the Chargers based off that. Like, well, that makes a big difference. Like all of a sudden, Bud Dupree's hanging out in Nashville and TJ Watt's on the sidelines. A big part of what made that team great last year on defenses, not on the field.
Yeah,
and yes,
Minka Fitzpatrick also dealing with an injury. Joe Hayden also dealing with an injury. And yeah, realistically, I think it sounds like Joey Bosa is actually going to probably go. That's huge, especially going up against Mason Rudolph potentially in a weak offensive line. This could be a Mason Rudolph turns back into a grosser pumpkin than he was last week.
A rotten pumpkin you forgot about when you went on vacation.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, that pumpkin that you didn't deal with on Halloween. That's now November 17th, and it's just it's got rats now. Okay.
And like I said, Mason Rudolph did not get touched in 50 dropbacks last week. That has nothing to do with that offensive line. Like that offensive line played up a little. He's get a little comfortable back there.
Yeah.
Also, basically, you got Bosa coming at you, and Adderley practiced today.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive injuries are trending good for Chargers. I lean Chargers with you here.
We have 3 more Steelers primetime. This is one of them, but 2 more after this. Oh, for the love! I hope they.
Minka out is a big problem.
I hate this. This should be Chargers by a touchdown, considering who's going to be available. I don't know what else to say.
Well, my raw numbers make it. Yeah, I mean, if I make some adjustments for
and you really hate to see what happened. You really hate to see what happened to TJ Watt because he was having such a promising season. He was going to be a really decent runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year, and now he's going to miss his primetime shot against especially because he would have mattered in this game. Let's quit the joking around. He would have mattered in this game. The right side of the Chargers offensive line is dog shit bad. And he would have had a great day running down Justin Herbert. He would have had a couple sacks easily. And unfortunately, now he's probably going to miss this game in prime time. And then on the same day that Myles Garrett ends Tim Boyle's career. So,
Jesus Christ. Fucking. And yes, Giorgio, he is still dating Jeannie Bouchard. Eugenie Bouchard, lovely tennis player from the neighbors to the north.
That is not a pair that I ever would have predicted.
They've been dating for a while. Yeah, they've been dating for a little while now. Although I'm more of a Mississauga Mammoth guy myself, if I had to pick one.
Wow, that is hottest take. That's the hottest take you've had on this podcast.
Jeannie's all right. I don't know. She just looks like a million other blondes. So doesn't she just look like every girl in California?
I don't know about that. It's a hot take.
She's not even the best looking Bouchard sister. Charlotte by a damn mile.
Man, we have a friend who's going to stop sending you secret plays if you keep this up.
Yeah, don't tell Bo.
All right,
either way,
let's wrap it up here.
Let's call it
Secret Pod.
Hit the
SPP.
mark. That's perfect.
SPPTT. What do you like?
SPPTT.
Do you like
for me?
Houston under better at 17 or Natty over 24.5? Natty over. Let's do that.
Yeah, I think it makes me nervous playing those Dude. Real low unders are so.
You know why we take the Natty over? Because this is a little Mac Jones OROI insurance. Chase could have a big one up against Jonathan Abram and company. That pathetic excuse for a secondary. Chase could put up a big number on these guys.
I don't need that. I need it to be a T. Higgins
game. Let's get a T. Higgins Boyd game.
Big T. Higgins game. Hey, you guys. Thanks for joining us. If you're listening
Natty
to the
over.
podcast forum. Yeah.
Cincinnati team total over.
Cincinnati
24
team
and
total.
a half is the SPPTT, Secret Pod Play team total. I like it.
So the Bengals. And yes, if you're in the YouTube chat, you made it this long, hit the thumbs up on the way out the door. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for all the good chat. A lot of good chatter today. The usual suspects, but we love you guys hanging out with us every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And best of luck to you this week in the NFL. We'll catch you tomorrow for Thursday night football halftime. That'll be a fun
one. Secret chat play Texans money line. Woo! That's a spicy cake, Patrick. That's a spicy meatball. The Buckaroos are playing.